the 7th session, she came in for her appointment and with all smiles and looking relaxed, and she said, "You know what? I've decided that I think I'm very lucky. I'm very privileged. I'm honored to be visited by these beings, to be part of this program, whatever it is, between other beings and humans." And she had also been healed by these beings. She'd had a chronic lower back condition for 2 or 3 years, and a blue beam of light from a UFO had reached her back as she was running away from it in a field with her sister, who witnessed all this and corroborated it. Anyway, the blue beam of light from the UFO had healed her back pain. And that was one of the reasons why she felt, this is really an advantage, and I feel privileged, and I'm not afraid anymore. So that was the most wonderful beginning, not only for her, but for me, thinking, okay, if anybody else comes, I'm ready. And then a woman came, about 3 months later and worked with me for 10 years with at least 50 regressions and many discussions and conversations. And she got through her trauma, her fear, her terror, went on very helpfully to be a wonderful healer in life. And we had discovered in some of the regressions that she was being trained by various extraterrestrials in different modes of healing, and was actually running energy beautifully and healing people here on Earth. And she, like many other people I've regressed, have found that she also had a special mission in terms of helping to improve our ecology, very interested in ecological concerns, and that she recognized she had been ever since she was a very, very young child, like, don't waste water, don't let extra water run out of that hose. And we found out that the beings who were working with her from birth onward had noticed her from afar. They noticed that she was very concerned about water and the earth and resources and nature, and don't step on those flowers, she'd say to her little kid. Don't tromp on the lawn like that. That's a living being. So they noticed that, and they helped and encouraged her throughout her life in being very, very interested in ecological concerns and the well-being of the earth.
You really don't have any fear in this area, do you?
No, I don't. And as it has happened, beginning in 1994, I've had a few encounters too, and I would rate them as emotionally neutral or even very positive, and of course very surprising, very startling.
When you say encounters, can you be more detailed, or do you not want to?
Well, each encounter was with a different type of extraterrestrial being. And it all began, do you want to hear about this?
I would love for you to share whatever you're guided to share.
Okay.
Because it was coming into the space to ask you, like, you're so close to it, you're facilitating so many people, you're bringing through healings, you're bringing through recognition, you're honoring the people that have had these experiences and getting them to begin life again and to bring back the joy and all that. And it just occurred to me that she's got to have had an experience,
Perceptive of you.
Well, I mean, it's kind of in there. And you have a piece about it that's unusual. So we would love to hear, and I would love to hear whatever you're guided to share. And then I do want to ask you about your take about God. Not the religious stuff, but just what you think about, is there a God? Is there a creator? Blah, blah, blah.
Yes, okay.
I ask you the small questions.
We'll take the first one first.
Oh, but please.
Yes, a tiny little one-sentence question. Well, in terms of my own experiences, in 1994, the woman I continued to work with for a total of 10 years, she also was, during some of our sessions, channeling an extraterrestrial being. a very fine being who was her mentor, really a lifelong teacher mentor. And he was an extraterrestrial from our point of view, didn't live on Earth. He said he lived on the planet Antares, and that is definitely in our star maps. We can recognize that name and even where it is. And he, in the channeling sessions, he gave so much information. This was really a very fascinating thing, and I felt extremely privileged because I could have conversations with him. That is, his voice would come through my client, and she was in a light state of trance. And I would have conversations with him and record them so she could hear them later. And in one of those sessions in the winter of 1994, he already had been well aware that I had been for a few years going over to England to research and visit the crop circles, and that was a very, very keen interest of mine. And I was giving lectures about it and learning everything, everything about it that I could. And he said, in one of these channelings, he said, Barbara, if you would like to, you could go with some of the beings for the making of these crop circles. And at first I felt thrilled, and then I felt kind of concerned, like, oh my gosh, would that be safe? Would that be okay for me? How would that happen? Would I know about it? And I asked all those questions. And he said, you could go any way that you wish. You could be fully conscious and awake, although it would most likely be in the middle of the night because that's when they come and make most of the crop circles. Or you could be totally asleep and not aware of anything, maybe somehow figure it out later. Or you could go totally physically and be aware or not be aware, or you could go astrally, that is, that your body remains sleeping in bed, but your whole astral sense, your spirit, your soul, your consciousness goes for the experience, or any combination of the above. Well, I had to think about that. Here's where the bravery comes in.
Now you're even braver than I thought. You're way more brave.
Yeah.
I think you're brave Megatron. Major, capital B.
Well, I'm an Aries. And I'm very grateful for that because that's taken me many times to many, many different parts of the world that I probably wouldn't have made the effort to get to if it hadn't been for the fact that I have that Aries aspect of exploring the unknown and doing unusual things and getting out there. So I'm happy about that. But in this case, I was intrigued but really reticent. And it took me 6 months to get ready to agree, yes, I'd like to have that experience. Just before I left for England that July 1994, and Ohana was channeling again, I said, okay, Ohana, yes, I would like to have that experience, but I don't think I want to be aware of all of it, but I want to know it happened. See, for me, that was perfect. That was safe. And so he said, okay, then you have to mean it and you have to invite them. And what I suggest is that you speak out loud to them for a period of time, not just for a minute or two, but an extended period of time, and tell them that you really want to have this experience. You'd be honored. You're studying this phenomenon. You really are involved in it. The crop circles, you really want to know everything about it. And so ask them with total earnestness. And so I did that. The day before flying to England, I was driving an hour in one of the Southern California freeways toward the airport. And I talked out loud. I was by myself in my car and talked out loud and praised them and honored them